Hey YouTube, Mark Kaufman here, and today I just wanted to show you some recent vintage pickups that I had gotten off of eBay. And these are, well actually, this one is brand new. And let me dial down the lights just a little bit here. So this one is actually the only brand new one. The rest of these are actually vintage, and I'm actually quite happy about them. So I have a few other Victorinox knives that are coming in, and finally I feel I'm going to have enough to be able to do some historical I guess perspectives on some of the tools, and maybe even do some instructional videos. I am also thinking about doing a few modifications, so I may be picking up a few vintage or used Victorinox knives, and I might even try to build my own Swiss Army knife. So that might be something that's coming along this coming year, and yeah, it's pretty interesting time for me. So it is the first day of 2022, and for me, I am very excited to see what my YouTube channel will bring y'all. And this is just a few things that I've recently picked up. So I actually have I think this is an Executive Prince, or a I believe this is a 74 millimeter Prince. And I actually picked this up last year, and it is in very good condition, but it is very similar to what I have on the table here, except this has a very nice long nail file and slightly different setup. But this here is another director. I found another director, and this is actually one from the 1970s, I believe, maybe even the 1960s. And it has the older scissors. Now, this is the thing. The spring on this is broken. The older carbon spring, and this was probably a single leaf spring, is broken on this one. So I will be replacing that. I will be also polishing this, but I'll also be removing the name that's on here. So yeah, I'm going to be removing this guy's name and making this knife look brand new again. The orange peeler is in relatively good shape. Don't think I'm going to sharpen that up. Still feels relatively sharp. But I will be polishing the blade. We've got some scratches in it, but it's nothing too major. And then we've got the smaller pen blade, which is a little gummy, to be honest, but after some oiling, this will come along quite nicely. So I picked up another director. This might actually be one that I carry myself, so that may be a possibility. Also, I wanted to just show you how crisp and sharp the lines were on the scales. The scales are very sharp, very deep when it comes to the gouache etching there. So it wasn't very heavily used. I think whoever owned it stopped using it when the spring broke in the scissors. So that'll be cleaned up. This is a older bijou, and it has a company logo, but I'm actually going to be changing out the scales on this. But this is probably late 70s. Because it's got the aluminum tip tweezers. And this one here has your older style nail file. So that's one of the reasons why I went after this one. I picked this one up for about $5. So you can find these, but you got to hunt for them. You got to really look for them. But you can see on this set of scissors that actually has the older carbon leaf spring. This is the double leaf. And this has the carbon spring in it, which is, it works, but it's very weak. I'm probably going to change this out. Now you can actually see a slight difference in the manufacturing of the scissors, and after this they actually switched over to what we see as the Victorinox scissors as today. You see it's not as blocky and not as ornate. Oh, well, it's not as sharp. It's a little more softer and less lines on it. So yep, so I found that, and that'll be cleaned up. I'll probably be carrying that. Then I picked up a companion. This is an older companion. I polished the cutting blade here and sharpened it, but the only thing I really need on it is a new spring. So we've got to get a new spring for this. So there we go. But the thing is that I found interesting about this is that it is an ALOX aluminum knife, but the spring on it was also carbon. So it's interesting to see when these springs fell out of favor and were switched over. Next is this Executive. Now this Executive is something that I actually got for like, I think it was 12 bucks. And it was in very, very poor shape. The scales I actually originally threw away. And I went back because the scales I'd gotten actually didn't fit the studs on this knife. Now luckily, actually had its original aluminum tip tweezers that I polished up. But it doesn't have the toothpick, so I'll be replacing the toothpick. But I polished up the blades on this. This thing was in very, very rough shape. I polished up the blades. It's got very good snap. I also resharpened the orange peeler. This is actually the one I did in the video that I posted about sharpening it. And then I did polish up and sharpen the small pen blade. And then we've got scissors, but again, we don't have a spring. So I'm gonna have to get a spring for this, but you can see that this is the older set of scissors. So I'm gonna have to get a spring for that. And then we have the nail file. But of course you need to make sure to double check your nail files, because Victorinox had this one that had a little more of a curve in it, and that was probably early 70s, and then they switched over to the flat type of nail file. So I picked up one of those, and to kind of tell you guys I'm getting on a little bit of an executive kick, I actually found 4 others on eBay, and I think I picked up each one for under $15. So that was kind of a nice pickup, but it's going to need a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work to get them to where I want them to be. This one here is a little bit of a surprise. It's not a Victorinox. It is a Vanguard. This is a Vanguard Patriot, and this one is in black A-locks. I found this one on eBay, and I was just really surprised to see a black Vanguard knife. I've never seen a black one before, and I just had to pick it up for the collection. And I think it's going to be great. I'm not going to carry it. It's just going to go as a comparison piece to my red one. Here is a, I think this is a companion, even though it has the key ring, but this is brand new. Found this by a seller on eBay, and I couldn't find these from Victorinox, so I'm going to assume these are discontinued, but he has these brand spanking new. And yeah, this was, I think, like 16, 17 bucks. So I had to get one. He actually has black ones for sale, and I picked up one of those as well. Now, the other one that I picked up from him is this little interesting one. I actually didn't have this one out here because I completely forgot about it. But this one here is actually called a Caddy because it's got a divot repair tool. So this one here I also picked up from him. I think he's selling it for like 17 bucks, brand new. I'll be throwing that in my golf bag. And then the other thing I found was this. Now, this thing is stupid thin. 1 layer and A-locks. If you had to carry a knife and you don't want to carry a knife, this is something that you could definitely go with. This is actually a Princess. So I thought this was a Escort or even a Prince, but this is actually a Princess. So this actually has a knife blade on one side, and then it has your nail file and nail cleaner. So that is it on the Princess. And this is the A-locks model, so it's going to be very, very thin. This is a fantastic knife to carry when you might be wearing slacks or wearing something that you just are like, I don't want to carry a heavy knife at all, but I want to have something to cut some string with. So that is it. So I just want to show you guys some recent pickups of mine. I'm going to have another installment on this, and then I'm going to have another restoration video in regards to this one. And then when it comes to probably one of this one or one of this one, it will be on how to change out your spring in your Victorinox knife. So thought you guys would enjoy seeing some of these. Until the next one, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.